Hello there. The EU Parliament Brexit chief says that the final deal may be voted down by the members of the European Parliament, so triggering a crisis. Guy Verhofstadt said that EU MEPs, as well as our own MPs, could vote against any Brexit deal forcing the UK into what he called unknown territory. He also said that this could lead to a change in government with a new position on Brexit. Interviewed on the BBC's Andrew Marr show, he said, "There will be, I presume, a crisis in British politics, maybe an election, maybe after that election a new government and maybe a new position of that new government on Brexit." And on the rights of EU citizens during the transition period, he said, "It's not acceptable for us that rules will continue without change for financial services, for goods, for whatever other business, and only for the citizens their situation will change. That is penalising citizens." Now, the longer all this back and forth goes on, the longer the uncertainty lasts. We in the UK must concentrate fully on the no-deal exit from the EU. The more comprehensively we plan for no deal, the more likely it is that we will get a good deal. Now, yesterday I pointed out that Theresa May keeps pledging the UK's military to the unconditional support of the defence of Europe, which I take to mean the European Union states. But that, of course, is not reciprocated. The EU is now threatening to pull the plug on UK access to the EU's Galileo satellite network when it comes online in 2 years' time. EU legal concerns over whether a non-EU state can be granted access to the ultra-accurate encrypted satellite navigation data when it comes online in 2020 are behind exclusion plans being discussed in Brussels, reports The Telegraph. And here was me thinking that as a net contributor to the EU, we'd helped pay for the EU global navigation satellite system, as if a simple trading bloc needed one anyway. And the EU will keep demanding we pay for access to their single market so we can keep funding their militaristic and expansionist ambitions. Also, bear in mind, if we are tied into that EU system, we are tied into only fighting when they want, not when we need to. After all, the whole reason the €5 billion Galileo project was initiated was to prevent the EU having to rely on the Russian GLaNOS, Chinese Beidou or US GPS systems. But now it seems that the EU wants the unconditional support of our military muscle without paying for it and on their terms only. Yet another reason to leave the EU and also take our defence forces with us and use them only in our own national interest. And as part of that, we need to seriously consider building our own nationally controlled GNSS. After all, if we can afford to give away £13 billion a year away in aid, we can afford our own national satellite system. But it seems our establishment is only too happy to see the defence of the nation denuded by lack of funding, lack of forethought and maybe even some design. It's got that bad that out of 100,000 people volunteering, only 7,500 became soldiers, and we are still 4,000 short of the 82,000 army personnel we are meant to have. Sources say the blockage comes from a disastrous decision to outsource recruiting to private firm Capita, says The Sun, going on to report that thousands of would-be recruits dropped out in frustration at all the red tape and delays, with the successful applicants taking an average 300 days to get through the system. And The Telegraph says, some 101,854 tried to join in the 12 months to September last year, but only 7,441 were successful. In the same period, 9,718 left, the second consecutive year where the number of people leaving outweighed those signing up. Former Chief of the General Staff, General Lord Richard Dannatt told The Sun, "I've heard of a number of people who have been trying to join the armed forces and got fed up at the length of time it takes. The system is too complicated. The army knows the previous system was better and would like to go back to it. The reason why it's not being done is because it's too expensive. The army at 82,000 has never been smaller since modern records have been kept. At 78,000 we've hugely undershot the current level, which itself is too small. 10 years ago it was 102,000. Now I'll point out a couple of things and just see what you make of them. This country's population is the largest it has ever been and is growing hugely every year. We have more people in work in this country than ever before in its history. We are told that everyone pays their way and therefore the HMRC tax take must be at record highs. And we can't form defence forces with sufficient personnel, let alone equipment. Surely this cannot all be down to accident or bad planning. One could be forgiven for taking the view that this is the final element of a long-term plan to reduce the UK armed forces ready for plugging into the new EU defences. A plan that Brexit doesn't seem to have affected one bit. Or is that just conspiracy theory? What do you think? Please leave a comment below. Thank you. Please do like and share this video. And also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.